Hi everybody, Trudy here, One Grounded Angel you might know me as. This is the weekly angel card reading video for the week beginning Monday the 27th of May through to the 2nd of June 2019. So we'll start shuffling the cards and see what comes up. Straight away, shield yourself. Now last Friday we had a message about shielding, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I'm aware some of you might not have seen that message. So in summary, we are surrounded by an energy field. Some people can see it, most of us cannot see it. I actually can't see energy. I can sense it, I can feel it, and it moves in accordance with where we're going. And that is how, or not even where we're physically going, but where we're thinking, where our thoughts go. And that is how I can do energy healing sessions with people on the other side of the world just by talking to them, because energy is not confined to geography. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make with this is that your energy field needs to be protected, because you can pick up other people's energies. If you're in a busy shopping mall, the reason you might feel a bit confined or a little bit provoked by being surrounded by so many people, even if they're not even touching you, is because your energy is coming into contact with all of their energy and you might be picking up all their stuff. So yeah, when we're surrounded by a lot of people, and if we are particularly sensitive to energy, it can be a little bit challenging. So one thing I do, just going back to that shopping mall example, I got this from Denise Lynn. Whenever she's in a crowded space, she asks for her energy field to be brought in closer to her, about a foot away. And that can be helpful. I try to do that when I'm doing Christmas shopping in those horrible, stressful situations, or any social event where I'm in a crowd. I try to remember to do that if I'm suddenly feeling like really provoked and I don't know why. It'll be my energy field. But in a general sense, this card is asking you to shield your energy so that you're not taking on board other people's stuff. As an empath, if you are around people who are going through drama, trauma, stress, whatever it is, it's difficult for you to separate the way you feel from the way they feel, because you might go, they're really sad, now I feel really sad too. And there's nothing wrong with feeling sad, but the problem is if you then go home feeling really sad, you're going to see it's going to be difficult for you to lift yourself out of that. It's hard enough being a human being without having to, with our own emotions, without taking on board other people. So the idea is to shield your energy. And I did post an article on my Facebook. I'm not going to post it again because that would be repetitive, but it's about how to shield your energy. And one thing I don't talk about in the article, but which is helpful, is to cleanse your energy. Salt water, a really great way to do that. Bathing in magnesium salts, Epsom salts, swimming in the ocean. A little bit cold for that in this part of the world now, but yeah, it's not an option for everybody. But also being in nature is a really great way to refresh and cleanse your energy. So let's move on now to Tuesday, the 28th of May. We've got a card here, explore your options. So if you are making a decision, this is saying, basically tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, not so hasty. Do not let your decisions be guided by what other people tell you, what you think is the only option for you. Be aware there's much more available to you than what seems the case right now. Explore your options. Don't disregard things out of hand because you're like, oh, I'm too old for that, or that only happens to certain people, or oh no, I could never do that, or that just doesn't work out for people like me. Whatever the unhelpful, limiting narrative in your head is, challenge it and say, let's look into this and see whether it could actually work. And if you need some help with that, remember to ask for a sign. If you are not sure whether something's right for you, always ask for a sign. What I do is always say, please give me a sign I can easily understand to confirm that I'm on the right track with this particular thing that I think might be good for me. Don't just say, please give me a sign to tell me what to do, because they'll give you a sign, but you won't know what option that actually pertains to. So you need to be in a dialogue with your intuition to find out, first of all, what you think is right, and then ask for the confirmation. Wednesday, love. This is one of those cards that I used to get a bit frustrated with because it seems so vague. I mean, love is the essence of every single message here anyway, so I didn't really understand the point of this card. And so what it will mean to you will depend on where you're at. If you're in a situation where you feel like you're isolated, or you feel a little bit out of sorts, maybe, or you feel like your relationships are struggling, come back to the idea of love. So it might be that remembering the universal love, so you don't feel alone, you remember that we're all connected. Maybe that will help you feel a little bit more like you're still part of the human experience, even though you might be different to the people around you. Maybe it's the love in terms of needing to do some forgiveness from other people, or just at least seeing where they're coming from. Maybe it's about love in terms of, I think I gave this example last week, the eternal love message. Maybe it's about remembering that if you are looking for a romantic love and feel like it's not happening for you, to remember that just because there isn't romantic love in your life, that doesn't mean there's no love at all in your life. And when you focus on the love you do have, it does start to shift your perspective, and you can more easily welcome in other forms of love. Yeah, it's hard to know what that relates to. I guess it's trying to, if you're really in your stuff right now and you're feeling really emotional and really like, I don't know what the point of these choices I'm making is, I don't know if I'm getting anywhere, just to come back to that place of compassion and peace within you, and just try to get out of that that endless, seemingly endless negative thought spiral. Let's move on to Thursday. Sort of got a weird situation here. One card sort of tilted out, but I didn't quite know if it was for me, and then the other one jumped out just after it. So I'm going to read them both together. Fresh Air. We've had this one super recently, like 2-3 weeks ago. It is about getting outdoors, but it's also about opening your mind. So I can see a correlation with this explore your options card. So it could be needing to go outside to clear your energy, based on that shield energy card, or it could be about needing to open up to different ideas and different perspectives instead of seeing yourself as limited to, well, I guess I just have to take this promotion even though I don't really want it because that's what everyone expects me to do, or whatever your situation is. And if that doesn't relate to you, you've got this, go for it. Some of you have been getting very clear guidance, I'm being told, about the next thing you need to be working on. It could be a project, it could be a move, it could be, I don't know, it could be anything really. Go for it. I know you're scared. I know it seems hard. I know you don't even know where to start, but you need to go for it. Get the ball rolling in some form or the other. You don't have to have all the answers right now. In fact, it's better if you don't. The more clearly we map out the end result, the more liable we are to go off track. You just need to know the first step and take that, and then the rest will fall into place. So let's look at Friday now. Oh. Guiding children. Now the very specific meaning of this card is for people who are considering working with kids, and confirming that that's a good idea. Now that's not meant for everybody. That's quite small. That's this sort of sample that will relate to. So the other message more generally, if it not in a work sense, it's about you supporting kids in your life. It might be you have a child or a niece or nephew or I don't know, a kid in your life in some form that needs a little bit of guidance, and it might be that you are getting guidance at the moment from the universe about what this kid needs, a bit of emotional support, permission to be themselves. They need to be guided into music or some sort of hobby that they're not doing at the moment because they're trying to be like everybody else. I don't know what it is, but you hopefully will know. If that doesn't relate to you, guide your own inner child to a place of peace. If you're in freak out mode, think about what you would like your mother to say to you. Maybe you want your mother to tell you that it's going to be all right. Maybe you want your mum to look after you. Maybe that's what you need to do for yourself. You actually need to make yourself some soup and put on some comfy clothes and unplug from social media and just really take some time out. Yeah, guiding your own inner child, I think, to feel like everything's okay and that they're enough. Maybe it's a bit of a pep talk you need to give yourself and to encourage yourself to go for it. See what I did there. Link back to the other card. Prosperity. Wow, big money card here. Although it's not necessarily money, it could be prospering in terms of your material needs. So it's kind of a base root chakra kind of message here about understanding you have everything you need. You will always have everything you need. Stop looking at what you don't have and look at what you do. Louise Hay, in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, talks about how when she gets a bill, she blesses it and says thank you to the universe because she has the money to pay it. Most of us look at our bills and go, oh God, more people want my money. But yeah, so switching your focus, although it seems a bit crazy, is one way that you can remember gratitude, and we know that what we focus on increases, so it's really important to look at where your mindset is at. If you are saying no to a social event because you say you can't afford it, maybe you actually can afford it, you just don't want to go. And maybe just be honest with yourself about that. You don't have to tell your friends that that's the reason you're not going, but maybe you could say, this isn't the best use of my money right now, instead of saying I can't afford it. Because if you're sending the message to the universe that you don't have enough, you'll get sent more lack. So just be careful. I know I can't afford it is kind of a handy thing we throw out in terms of, I actually don't want to spend money on this particular thing, but just be mindful of your language around that. So know that you have enough. If you're holding back on starting something because you're worried about the money, please don't let that be the only reason you say no to something, because that's not a good enough reason. The universe will give you what you need. You may never be wealthy from this, maybe a side hustle you want to start, but maybe that's okay. You'll have enough. Oh, this is a really super weird combination. And, oh, 2 cards at once. Annoying for me. Study. Some of you are getting some messages about doing some, I don't know, seminars, workshops, training, courses, maybe even tertiary study. I don't know what it is. If you've been getting messages about that, go for it. And this is about serenity, which I think is a beautiful message for a Sunday. I lately have been noticing that I spend my Sundays in preparation mode instead of relaxation mode. I start preparing for the week ahead, and I'm trying to switch that up by doing something different. Trying to go to a different part of town I haven't been to. I'm in a new city, so exploring different parts of that can be really fun. Getting out of the house, doing something different instead of going, okay, let me think about all the things I have to do this week and start panicking about them now, even though I'm not actually going to do them now. And then, of course, I don't sleep so well on Sunday night. So I'm trying to break that pattern. So far, it's going pretty well because I'm making conscious choices about where my focus is going, which is probably the most important message that underpins all of these cards. So serenity, being at peace is what it's all about. Instead of thinking ahead, going to the worry zone, how can you be more present in your life right now and enjoying this day? How can you be challenging yourself a bit more? Or in some way, perhaps there's a creative project that you've been getting nudged towards, and you've not really stepped into that invitation. I can't help but think there might be a connection here with last week's card about forgiveness. I did talk a bit about this in terms of forgiveness is not just about the act, but what triggered it underneath. For example, if you are really upset at the way your ex treated you, maybe the wound underneath that desire that I just want him to say sorry, or I want him to own what he did so I can feel better, which A, may never happen, or B, probably wouldn't provide you with the peace that you think it would. If we dig underneath there, what's really going on is often we're angry at ourselves for allowing that behavior to happen in the first place, or for choosing someone that on some level we knew was not quite right for us. That's just an example, and I'm not saying be angry at yourself or resentful or beat yourself up for your choices. I'm just saying if we can identify what's going on underneath, then we can figure out what we need in order to move forward. And in that example, maybe what you need to do is work on some self-worth issues or some self-respect issues, or maybe some fears around there's no one out there for me, so you attach to someone who's not right. I don't know. All these sorts of things can come up. I do this in energy healing. A lot of the reasons that drive us towards particular partners, we like to think it's fate or, I don't know, some sort of serendipity like that movie, but in actual fact, it's often governed by our wounds. And if you have got some deep wounds, you've been hurt, hurt people often attract other hurt people or people who will hurt them. And it's just a desire for healing, really, and maybe not the most helpful way. So that was a massive tangent, but the point I was trying to make is if you need peace in a particular conflict or a resentment situation, look at doing some deep reflection on what actually happened in that situation could give you the insight you need to actually move on from it. And if some healing needs to happen, it will give you a pointer as to where you can start to kind of to get the, get the healing, or to really get the awareness around that. Because often once we understand what was really going on, that's a really major step, because our human side just wants us to be in denial, wants us to blame other people. But as long as we're blaming other people, we're giving away our power. And again, don't blame yourself either. Just have some empathy for yourself, some self-compassion, and just see what was going on there. And that will tell you where the healing needs to happen. And then things will change for you. I see it a lot, and it's certainly been the case in my own life. So, pulling myself back from that massive tangent, maybe some of you really needed to hear it. very annoying. I have a lot of doubles for this week, but I'll figure out a way to do that. Do that on Insta in some way that maybe connects them or doesn't. Maybe I just say, hey, these don't really relate, but maybe some of you need that. I've made such a mess of these, too many cards, I can't handle them. Okay, so I think around looking after our energy has come through with the shield yourself, and it's repeated from last week. There's a lot of encouragement around starting new things and broadening our minds, being open to new opportunities, and perhaps that study feeds into that kind of message too. Wow, big week. Okay, I hope you've got something from that, or a lot of somethings. And as always, I'm keen to hear how the messages relate to your life, or how they may have spoken to you, or maybe they didn't, but later on down the track, maybe you'll come back to this and it will make sense then. But either way, hopefully you get something you need from this in terms of reassurance or comfort, or just a reminder that to look at the bigger picture of what's going on. Sometimes we get so stuck in the moment and think, it's not going well. So yeah, opening our perspective can certainly help a lot. Thank you very much for all your support and all your love, particularly all those on Instagram who sent me messages this week when I celebrated hitting the 40,000. 20,000. I can't even count the 20,000 follower mark. Thank you very, very much. And if you're not following me on Insta, it's at One Grounded Angel, and you can see my cards there each day. Also on Facebook, I post them as well. And my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. No surprises there. Thanks, everybody. You want a personal energy healing session, or to know more about energy healing, since I just referenced it, there's also a website on my there's also information on my website, www.onegroundedangel.com. Just click on the Healings tab or go to the Bookings tab if you want to reach out to me directly. Thank you very much. Have a good week.